harassed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nurov in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is... Pike's pushed more and Farrell up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's just such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Well, it's time for more racing here on Wednesday night. And what does that mean on JPB? It means GT4 action. Welcome along to America's National Park of Speed, Road America, for round 8 out of 10 for season 4 of the JPB GT4 series. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, welcoming you all along to the show. And very shortly I'll be joined in the box by the man, the myth, the legend, none other than Mr. James Parfitt himself. Of course, We've got a bit of a cliffhanger, so to speak, in the fact that after this round, drop scores will be taken into consideration. Now, this particular circuit, based in the town of Plymouth, just off Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin in the United States, opened back on the 10th of September, 1955. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, which is going to be the 15-minute qualifying session, 15-minute sprint race, whose grid will be decided by the qualifying session, then we have the top 15 reverse grid for race 2, which is, of course, the 45-minute feature race with a mandatory pit stop, 50% max fuel allowed. Let's take you through the current scores on the doors as they stand coming into this round of the championship. So, leading the way by a whopping 57 points in the pro classification, well, Kim Andre Bjorklund took advantage of a somewhat unfocused Sven Demmel, who will be back in action this very week, I'm sure, by 57 points. Ketil Larsen for IGL Coatings and Sunday Traffic moves up to third in the standings, ahead of Team Viking Thors, Tor Anders Berven. Gordon Hauger, Anders Leode move up to fifth and sixth in the standings, ahead of Alex Scarrett, Ewan Bremer, Miles Owens, and David Corpas Benitez, who round out the top 10. Alejandro Silva Caride, Tobias Holman, Simeon Mulderclive, Jordan Malcolm, Marcus Giesdahl, Ewan Stitchbury, Chris Barnes, Jesus Amandere, Christoph Bakos, and Gavin Petty round out the 20 in the pro class. Then we move on to the AM category. Richard Jones from Slow and Steady Racing leads the way on 412 points, deposing Bounty Hunter XX Racing superstar DJ, also good wheelman, Stefan Mellis from the top of the table. Stefan Mellis on 396, Richard Jones on 412. Rob Williams, Stuart Pearson, Torbjorn Mele, Per Havard Hafstad all round out the top 6, with Pearson, Mele and Hafstad moving up the order after a difficult race last time out for Vegard Olsen Lear. Last time out at Brands Hatch, Stuart Rice, Chris Evans, Rachel Hoff round out the top 10 ahead of Ika Lekui, Ovin Anderson, Dan Lewis and Magnus Dyrod. Moving on to the pro team standings, it's SRN Polyaklemi who have a massive lead. It's 788 points in their favour. IGL Coatings and Sunday Traffic, they're on 667, closely pursued by the pairing of Berven and Liliorde for Team Viking Thor, with Simrace Sweden Esports 4th ahead of Hugh Ass in 5th. Triple P Racing White, Lurchers Academy, SRN Bill Og Motorbloggen, Lurchers Samundere, ORA Motorsports, Team Viking Ragnarok 19 and DCW Racing round out the 13 teams in the pro class. Last but by certainly no means least, let's have a look at the AM team standings. Well, a big consolidated lead of 106 points for Richard Jones and Stuart Pearson for Slow and Steady Racing. 754 to their credit. Ahead of the pair of Olsen Lear and Hafstad, with SRN Icon Setret Seljord on 648. Blue Sky Esports' very own Stuart Rice and Rachel Hoff continue to round out the top 3 ahead of Bounty Hunter and Double X Racing. Toby Amelia and SRN Halstad Service move up to 5th in the standings ahead of Evans and Lewis and Triple P Racing Black, with Ovind Anderson's West Racing Norway bringing up the rear of the AM team standings. And with that all being said, well, we're into the first 2 minutes of qualifying, and let's welcome the man, the myth, the legend, into the box. Good evening, James Parfitt. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you very much, mate. How are you this evening? A wonderful Wednesday, returning to Road America. Should be a fun one.
I know, mate. We've still got 2 rounds to go. I can't Adam and Eve it, but this has been a really, really good championship so far. Of course, after this round, we take into account drop scores, and then there's no drop scores taken into consideration for rounds 9 and 10. If I remember correctly, I think we've got Portimao and Silverstone still on the calendar to go, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've got a few left on there. As you can see at the moment, we are at Road America. I've got Alton Park and Silverstone on my schedule now, unless I'm missing something.
Sorry, my apologies there. I've got Portimao on the brain because there's quite a few championships I'm doing at the moment where Portimao's on the calendar.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if that's where I went. No, we got Alton Park and Silverstone, so we finish off in the UK, right? 2 good racetracks to finish off on. I'll be interested to see how these guys get on. I think it's going to be an interesting one here. Road America. again, an interesting circuit for some. I think others are going to have to really try and hard and get past on this circuit. Moraine Sweet possibly could be the most noticeable turn that they've got to overtake. I think the run down from turn 3 down to turn 5, yes, I can count, but turn 4 is a kink in the road. It's not really a corner. So I think we'll discount that one. But I think going forward, it should be interesting to see how these guys last. I'm sure they should be good, and I'm sure they should behave as well. So, yeah, I don't really see any problems going forward with it.
Yeah, so, of course, for the sprint race, it's 25 points for a win. For the feature, it's 50 points for a win. Also, we give away 1 point to the fastest driver overall in time qualifying for pole position, and then also an additional point given out per race for the fastest lap. Ewan Bremer at the moment for Sim Race Sweden Esports in the 36 Porsche is currently purple in sector number 3. 6 sectors to enter into here Road America. Now, this particular circuit has really been stalwart within the racing fraternity within America, such as hosting the Grand Prix of Road America since 2016 for the NTT IndyCar Series. The Race Race Showdown of Road America since 2014 for the WeatherTech IMSA Sports Car Championship. It's also been a big part of the GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS, as Ewan Bremer goes top of the timesheets, 2 minute 15.294. So very lengthy laps around this circuit. But also, it's part of the, this circuit has hosted the Trans Am Series since 1970. But of course, it is going to be a very, very lengthy lap. It's around about 4 miles that these drivers are having to circumnavigate, 14 corners and all. And as you rightly said, going into the Moraine Sweep, also going through the kink at turn 11, and then into Kettle Bottoms and Canada Corner. We could see 2 wide, we could see 3 wide. For those wondering, what are the little squares indicating on the left-hand side of the timing tower? Well, for those wondering, Ewan Bremer is green, so he's a pro. Orange will be AM, and then we've got the latecomers as we welcome along for this race of the season, IGTL's Racing's very own Luke Maxwell, who's joined us in the number 4 BMW M4 GT3, currently running P3 ahead of Miles Owens. Kim Andre Bjorklund at the moment, though, 4 wins, 12 podiums, 2 pole positions, 5 fastest laps. Now, the big bit of news I can share with you all, and you'll have noticed this as well, James, I cannot see hide nor hair of Sven Demmel.
No, he's not in the session at the moment. I do want to pick up on something here. Now, there's a little private joke going on between myself, John McHutchinson, and Luke Maxwell. Now, there was a joke about Luke attending a Taylor Swift concert. Now, John did the livery. John did Luke's livery, and Luke has not noticed that he's got Taylor Swift on his roof.
I just noticed, yeah, you were just about to say that he hasn't just known, and I've just seen the image. Yeah. Oh my days, the Scotsman struck before we even got qualifying out of the way. Yeah. Well played there, John.
Yeah, John's got to put Taylor Swift on the top of Luke Maxwell's car, and I don't think he has necessarily noticed as of yet. So there we go. Well done, Luke. Proud of you. Andres Liliorde on a 2:14.797. Times are coming down. It's going to be very interesting to see where they end up time-wise. I know Richard Jones is in the 2:16s. Rob Williams hasn't got a time on the board at the moment. He's down for Triple P Racing White. He did say he was doing, I can't remember if it was late 2:15s or early 2:16s that they were discussing in the drivers' chat there as well. 16.2s for Torbjorn Mele. I think I've got a 14 in it. Not really helpful there, Mr. Williams. So we'll take it. He should be somewhere around there, I'm hoping. But we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, Torbjorn Mele saying hard pressed to do sub 17 consistently, Len. Consistently. Okay, that's quite interesting to know. But we're into the final 7 minutes of qualifying. Only one driver has broken 2 minutes and 15 seconds. That's Anders Liliorde. as we are currently watching, I think, is that
No,
Barnsley?
it's Rob. It is Rob. I was just seeing if we can get a time on the board.
Yeah, he's coming towards the end of his second lap in this qualifying session as Per Havard Hafstad has just got off track over the crest. Here on the long start-finish straight from turn 14 to turn 1. So does Rob Williams go on the board? Yes, he does. 12 overall. 2 minutes 16.165 at the minute. Well, David Corpaz Benitez and Tor Anders Berven about 1.2 seconds off of the pole time set so far. We're just coming up to 6 minutes and change to go behind Anders Liliorde. So it's Liliorde, Bremer, Larson, who had a couple of weeks ago a pretty good run in the number 46, ahead of Luke Maxwell, Gordon Hauger, Kim-Andre Bjorklund, John McCutchinson, Miles Owens, Alexander Scarrett and David Corpaz Benitez ran in the top 10. Rob Williams at the moment is the quickest AM out of everybody on the 2 minutes 16.166. He's ahead of Richard Jones, Torbjorn Mele. Oh, Kim-Andre Bjorklund pops up into second. And as the, the second Norwegian and the second Porsche driver to go sub 2 minute 15. Richard Jones now provisionally takes AM pole in 10th with the 2 minute 15.751. Track management and also spatial awareness are 2 key points around this circuit, James. We've commentated on it previously with other series, such as the, I think it might have been the Mazda MX-5s for UK sim races a handful of weeks ago. And we did see there was some great racing, but there was also a little bit of chaos along the way.
Yeah. Just about here, actually, if I remember correctly, there was a big 5-car pile-up down the straight here. But I think that's the general consensus of how people drive. You know, these guys aren't silly, right? They're not the ones to put themselves into positions where they're going to end up making silly moves. It's been a bit scrappy as the season goes on. It has settled down as well. There are talks of next season happening, along with another interesting series as well. So we're going to be looking at that on a Monday and a Wednesday. And I think, you know, as the season goes on, we kind of knew that at the beginning of the season it was going to get quite messy. And I think that's due to the fact it does every season. We get new drivers in, they take time to bed in, you know, get each taking time to learn each other's ways and how they should be doing this and how they should be doing that. And it's always the same thing. As the season goes on, it gets better and better and better and better and better. And now it's obviously at that point where it is going really well for these guys. So I don't think any of these are going to do anything silly. Are we going to see free wide across the start finish line? Absolutely, because there's probably room there. Are we going to see free wide down through the marine sweep? I'd be very surprised if we don't see free wide down the marine sweep. But I also don't expect to see free wide going into turn 5. I reckon somebody would have backed out by that point and just let the 2 cars in front go for it. It's what we live for, it's what we breathe for. But at the same time, you know, they've got to understand their ways. They've got to understand what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And I think a lot of these drivers are going to do it well. And it is one of them racetracks where you can race. So I'm really interested to see what goes on here and how this one turns out.
Yeah, also there are 2 drivers now on 35 penalty points. 5 more and it's an automatic race ban. So joining Miles Owens is Alejandro Carride in the number 55 Lecture Sim Racing BMW, has clocked up 35 points. Any driver that hits 25, it's a qualifying ban for the next round, and close to that are Ewan Bremer, Gordon Hauger, amongst others. Per Havard Hafstad and Oyvind Andersen also are on 20 penalty points on their licence apiece. Kian Palmer has done 1 lap in qualifying and has pulled it into the pit lane. Wayne Palmer hasn't done a lap time. Barnsley hasn't come out yet, and Edward Parfitt, another newcomer. Any relation?
He's my son. He's come over. He's come over from the Clios. He was another import from the Clios.
I had to ask. Well, at least it's good to have another addition to the grid, I must say, James. And Did he just say, yeah, Dad, I just want to give GT4s a go and see how I roll, and you never know, I might give it a shot?
Well, he's been driving them for a while, and obviously he's just had a new baby as well, so a big shout out to him for having a new, now officially a granddad to a beautiful baby girl. So he's on, obviously, his 2 weeks paternity, so the baby's sleeping at the moment. So Edward was like, can I join the GT4s just while she's asleep? And I was like, yeah, come and have a drive. So, and he's been driving the Porsche in the official series as well. So, yeah, he does all right. You know, it is what it is. He wants to come in and have a drive. Who am I to stop him?
Well, congratulations on the news there, James, as well. Really glad to have one of the other family members from the Parfitt family actually join us. Whether it be either in a broadcast sense, not in a broadcast sense, it's a driving sense, but Anders Liliorde still has got the fastest lap time in qualifying. But not anymore. Kim Andre Bjorklund, with just over a minute to go, pips him by 33 thousandths of a second. Trust Kim to pull one out of the magician's hat like a rabbit on his potentially last effort. John McHutchinson goes up to P6 behind Luke Maxwell. So good to see a couple of beamers in the top 6, let alone the top 10, because Richard Jones has done a stormy job. A second off of Kim Andre Bjorklund in the BMW.
Yeah, Luke is. It's one of them occasions where you sit back and we talked about it last week, how these guys are just naturally quick no matter what car they jump in. And Luke and John are both the same. They're just naturally quick despite what car they're ever in. So, you know, it makes all of that practice that I have to do for one race kind of go out the window because I only drive one car, but yet these guys just hop into one and that's it. So, yeah.
Well, pretty much everyone's in the pit lane. As there is Ivan Anderson in the McLaren 570S GT4 as we hit 0 on the timer, and that's it for time qualifying. So pole position, and it's going to be his 3rd of the season, is Kim Andre Bjorklund. Alongside him on the front row is going to be Team Viking Thor's Anders Liliorde. Kjetil Larsen and Ewan Bremer round out row number 2. Row 3 is Luke Maxwell and John McHutchinson, followed by Gordon Hauger, Miles Owens, Alexander Scarrett and Richard Jones are and pole sitter, rounding out the top 10. David Corpas Benitez and Tor Anders Berven round out row 6. Stefan Melis, Rob Williams, row 7. Row 8, Torbjörn Mele and Alejandro Caride, with Eka Lekui and Vegard Olsen-Lear rounding out row 9. Completing the top 20 is Per Havard Hafstad and Stu Pearson. Ivan Anderson, Chris Barnes, Kian Palmer, Wayne Palmer and Edward Parfitt round out the grid top 15. Following on from the results of this first race, will then be inverted, and then we'll have our 45-minute feature, the mandatory pit stop, and with all drivers capped at 50% on their fuel. There we have the iRacing safety car in front as we're just waiting for a couple more drivers. So Kim Andre Bjorklund and Kjetil Larsen. Bjorklund now jumps onto the grid. Kjetil Larsen's just got a handful of seconds to go. So hopefully he'll get there on time. Otherwise, everyone else behind will get a nice little bit of an advantage. So 90 seconds, I think, if I remember correctly, you saying, James, that they've got to grid up.
Yeah, he's got about another 30. It's normally 2 minutes gridding time. But obviously, you know, they can leave it till as late as they possibly want, till about 5 seconds if they really want to, before it will kick in. So I'm sure Kjetil will get there. However, we have got an exceedingly long pace lap. It's going to be at least probably 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes of a pace lap here for these guys as they go around the whole Road America circuit. But I can tell you one thing, that does give us a great epic start when they start rearing up through that long straightaway. And I will point out that straightaway that you can see that goes down over the hill, down into the last corner, comes all the way to turn 1. That straightaway is longer than the high street I live in.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's true.
No, it is.
And also the nearby. Yeah, the nearby. Well, the oldest recorded Roman town is about 30 minutes from where I live. Originally known as Camulodunum, now known as Colchester these days. I think it's probably about the same for Colchester High Street as well. It's a lengthy straight. We are going to see speeds close to or nearly exceeding 160 miles an hour, especially if you get the slipstream and the side draft, but it's going to be very neat and tidy as they're all sort of just having a little bit of a stroll and getting themselves ready. From your perspective, James, what are the main things that the drivers are focusing on apart from getting tyre and brake temperature into the vehicle?
Knowing and remembering where their braking points are, looking at what part of the circuit they are going to brake, picking out where their braking points. Now, obviously, one of the things they've got to be looking out for, Kim on JP Auckland here, we're on that run down from 3 to 5, is where are they going to brake and how are they going to continue to make sure they get there every single time. Now, most people coming down, you come over the top of the hill. As you come over the top of the hill, you start feathering the brake, braking hard at the curb, getting that car stopped to rotated round for turn 6. So it's all making sure that this is all going on in the car. Right, I got to brake here, I'm going up over the hill, I'm going to brake just before the Corvette bridge, about now. There we go, round the left-hander we go. So it's picking out where you're going to go and what you're going to make sure you do, getting used to recognizing where your braking points are, along with brake dragging the car as well, and obviously, you know, trying to get warmth into that tyre to make sure that they can get through turn 1 at the pace that they're supposed to. Otherwise, somebody's going to be off in the kitty liver on the left-hand side of turn 1.
Yeah, so we are making our way through the hurry downs and through turn number 8 underneath the Speedville Bridge, heading into turns 9 and 10 here at the carousel. So another point where we have seen people throw the Hail Mary around the outside, but then that also sets you up nicely for turn 10, which they're just circumnavigating their way through. And then it's the fast right-hander at the kink at turn 11 before Kettle Bottoms, and Canada Corner turns 11, A and 12. So air temperature 22.2 degrees Celsius, track temperature 22.78, humidity around about 45%. There is a bit of a small breeze, about 2 miles an hour, but with lap times around about call it basically 2 minutes and 20 seconds. We're probably going to be looking at around about 8 to 9 laps at a push, considering how fast these cars will roar around this circuit. Of course, GT4's production-based spec cars. Big thank you as always to Sim Racing Community, Blade Designs, for their support as always. And now we are gearing up and getting ready to go racing. First of 2 races tonight is the 15-minute sprint. Coming up first, the iRacing pace car will now pull into pit lane, making Bjorklund and Liliorde the effective pace car front row. Out of the final corner they go. Right, let's have at it. Let's slip the dogs of war here at Road America. So Bjorklund and Liliorde, all the sight games are already starting as they go over the crest and head towards the start-finish line. And now Bjorklund puts the pedal to the metal. Look at the start from Ketil Larsen. Red lights are on, and the green flag waves. We're green, green, green here at Road America. Great start by Bjorklund. Liliorde nudges ahead of Ketil Larsen as they're going to be harrowing their way into turn number 1. And Larsen trying to get the run in towards turn 3 as everyone's trying to make their way through, a bit of juxtaposing for position, 2x2 Noah's Ark style, just around Richard Jones in 10th position. This has got Alexander Scarrett to his immediate right-hand side. But a textbook start there. I thought Ketil Larsen might have had the jump on Liliorde there. The 918 from Team Viking Store got the second place back there, James.
Yeah, he did, and that's the interesting thing. See, John McCutcheon has just gone and sent it on the inside of Ketil Larsen there as well. Literally sent it through. Ewan Bramer is off the side of the circuit and wondering if that has got anything to do with that. Well, yes, it has, and unfortunately that has put who's that?
The Flying Scotsman's gone as well. John McCutcheon's gone around.
Yeah, he did. What did this do? Is this all on his own though? Coming up into turn 6.
Yes.
Oh, he's hit the car, hit the curb of the entry, and around he's gone. fourth. Unfortunately for John, he's all the way down the back end of the field. Big decision for Kim Andre Bjorkman there. How early was he going to go? Was he going to leave it as late and bunch the field up? He didn't. He bolted at the beginning and he went straight off and did an absolutely stellar job for him. So he has literally kicked on with Anders Liliorde following Gordon Hauger with Ewan Bramer, Luke Maxwell in the mix, Miles Owen, Scarrett, Bervin and Richard Jones was leading the AM fight. Stefan Mellers, Torbjorn Melle and Rob Williams in the other battle. There, Mellers just got through. There's Torbjorn Melle and Rob Williams. This is the fight for these guys at the same time. So a lot happening at the moment here. A lot of interaction between the drivers. Yeah, battles all the way through. And I think they're doing an absolute stellar job as there's a Mercedes and David Coppers Benitez up the side of the circuit.
Yeah, that was a bit of a code round coming out of turn 14 for the Spaniard. Edward Parfitt, in the meantime, your boy, has just gone up 5 places up to P20, even with the drama as well. Keir Palmer is already in pit lane. Kjetil Larsen is now in the pits as well. John McCutchinson, well, as you said, he did lose it all on his own.
Oh, so did Keir.
That's Keir, and he just lost it coming out of turn 8 at the hurry downs, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So that's a real shame. So that means we've got 2 drivers in pit lane. It is a long pit lane here. Oh, dearie, dearie me. That's the 727 of Edward going around. But up until that point, it was a very, very good run so far. Ewan Bremer looking up the inside of Gordon Hauger. That's through at turn number 5. You can use the runoff area here at turn 5 as Tor Anders Perven all over the back bumper like a fly on muck when it comes to Alexander Scarrett at the moment, and that's the battle for P7.
Yeah, that's at 7 all the way down through to Ewan Bramer. So these guys up there from 3rd all the way down to 8, but in this battle, Richard Jones is in the background there. Stefan Mellis is closing in on Jones. Corbus Benitez, Torbjorn Melle and Rob Williams are trying hard. Alexander Kiridi. Chris Barnes is up 7 places as well in that Porsche. He's doing a stellar job with Stuart Pearson from SAS behind that. Ika Lekue behind that as well for the Legends Academy. So a lot of action still happening. Some of it at the front. We've got some of it in mid-pack and we've got some of it towards the back end.
And good evening to Phil across the pond, our JPB superfan watching along. All those people that are doing so. So at the moment, if you are watching, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. There's plenty of great sim racing coming up on the JP Broadcasting Network over the course of the next few days, weeks and even months, right up until the end of the year and beyond. Luke Maxwell still holding on to that 5th place, challenging Gordon Hauger for 4th on the road. Now, the thing is that with the drivers not showing up as pink squares, folks, that means that they are late comers to the championship. They will not score points. So even if Luke Maxwell overtakes and finishes ahead of Gordon Hauger, Hauger will still pick up the points for 4th place, which in this sprint race is 17. So, yeah, good to see that Luke's giving good accounts of himself, a bit like John last time out when we were racing away, and you know, he was quite happy to have a good little chinwag with us last week, was John. I'm sure the same might be said after these 2 races here at Road America as we ride on board with the number 4 from ITGTL Racing.
Yeah, coming down from turn 3 down into 5. He's looking there. He's got Miles Owens in close proximity as well. Oh, I believe that is Owens almost tried it on the inside there. We can just see a glimpse of him at the outside of left-hand side of Luke's mirror. And there is Miles Owens in that Aston Martin. Great little battle there. They're coming up into turn 8 before they go round 9 and 10 around the long right-hander of the carousel. It's going to be interesting to see the dominant car in the morning. As you can see, we've got 4 Porsches at the front. But I think the BMW, the Aston Martin, some of the Merc drivers as well, it would have been interesting to see where Kjetil Larsen had got to if he hadn't had his own little ta-ta-ta. And unfortunately, it was the 2 Mercedes, and Kjetil Larsen and Keir Palmer, that have both had their issues. So, you know, both of them did the same thing, Alex. Both the back ends went round. But as I said before, it's a Netflix and chill with the Mercedes. It's not a slam dunk and fun. You know what I mean?
No, unless you get a code brown on clean up on aisle 3 coming through that point in the circuit. So that means Luke Maxwell loses out 5th place. 2 miles. Oh, is Alex Scarrett's going to send it like he meant it through at turn number 11 at Canada Corner and makes the move stick, which means that Maxwell has to keep avoiding. In the meantime, the AM class lead has changed. Stefan Mellis has gone through on Richard Jones. So it's the top 2 protagonists in the AM title battle. And there goes Mellis up the inside of Maxwell, out of turn number 14, putting a car between himself and SAS Racing's Richard Jones. Oh, this is getting spicy now. Mellis wants to go back to the top of the table.
Yeah, Mellis is trying hard. He did say he's been putting practice in as well. He did say that he's going to be there or thereabouts. Chris Barnes has unfortunately had a little bit of a contact with Caridi. Whoa.
Oh, dearie me. So rejoin from Caridi there. And yeah, like a little bit of afters. Yeah, slight touch between the pair, and then Caridi.
He's just on the grass. As much as we'd love to say that we think there might have been afters, he was turning hard left to try and stop that car, and unfortunately when you're hitting the pace they're hitting, there's just no way through to be able to stop it. So yeah, it's been tough for both of them guys as well, but you know, too wide at certain points. This is how Stefan Mellis got the job done on Richard Jones. Jones goes wide into turn 5. Mellis sneaks up the inside and says, thank you very much, I'll have that going up into 6. So Stefan Mellis leading his class. Luke Maxwell still leading in sort of the late comers, should we say. Great battles all the way through. And we've still got Kim on JPB Auckland up front. Rob Williams is here with Torbjorn Mele, who needs just absolutely sent it on Torbjorn there as well. Wow, Rob Williams not holding back this evening, going for it, sitting 3rd in AMS at the moment. He's got to catch Richard Jones. Jones is just up the road there in the BMW. Alex is not too far away, so Williams has still got some hope to do this.
Williams said to Stefan Mellis, saying, stop taking advantage of my mistakes. Well, if you make a mistake, you're going to be at the behest of other drivers. As Luke Maxwell trying to go side by side with Stefan Mellis. Nose ahead between the pair. It's turn number 11. Mellis still keeps it pinned round the outside. This brings Richard Jones back into the mix, and right on the back bumper from the Bounty Double X racing car. Oh, this is getting spicy in the AM class lead, and this is also helping Rob Williams to close, because get this, folks, he's only a second away from the number 99.
Yeah, it's closing in the background there. He's going to hope he can catch some of that draft of Corpus Benitez. At the up front, we got Anders Liliorde and Kim on JPB Auckland. Now, I've seen this before, I believe, as well, with these guys fighting, Alex, and I don't remember there being many moves between the two of them. So this could be an interesting one to keep an eye on, especially whether or not they're going to actually be making moves over each other.
Yeah, it's always been a case that there's a sign of Viking respect between the Norwegian contingent, who have been it's actually been quite nice having them on board with us here at the JPB GT4 series for this 4th season of the championship. But yeah, Anders Liliorde keeping within 3/10 of Kim on JPB Auckland. 10 minutes down, 5 to go. We're on currently lap number 5 as Rob Williams gets deep on the brakes. Through into turn number 5 on David Corpus Benitez. He is hungry. He wants not just second in the AM class, he wants that win. And look, the 2 in front, Mellis and Jones, are not that far up the road as they now make their way through into the hurry downs out of turn 7. And it's going to be the carousel coming up next through turns 8, 9 and 10. This has been one of the fights I've been waiting for Rob Williams to start coming back at Jones and Mellis. In this latter stage of the championship season. Of course, drop scores will be applied post this race evening. And we'll go into the final 2 rounds. Alton Park next week without the British chicane, and then Silverstone Grand Prix host the finale on May the 29th. And what has been an interesting, a dynamic, and at some point chaotic championship. But we do love a bit of GT4 action, don't we, JP?
Yeah, we definitely do. We love them battling away as they are doing at the moment. So we're going to keep an eye on this mid-pack battle, as well as easy for anybody else to say, as well as the guys at the front. We've got 3 minutes 41 of race 1 to go, and I'm going to be interested to see what happens here during this race. Stefan Mellis having a good old little ding-dong. He's got Richard Jones, Rob Williams not too far apart. There's going to be one and one more here, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, so we're going to have a total of 7 laps. Come the checkered flag next time around. Will be the white flag lap with Barney the flag marshal on the start finish straight here at Road America, waving it feverishly so everyone, all and sundry, can see it. As we head down into turn number 3, and then it's going to be the run through down the Moraine sweep through this slight left-hander very shortly. It is just going to be a case of, can Mellis hold off Jones? Meantime, Liliorde and Bjorklund have set the firecrackers alight as look at them go through into turn 6 underneath the bridge. Liliorde looking left, looking right, Bjorklund defending nicely.
Yeah, they're trying to battle away on the run up from turn 7 into turn 8 before they go left to the carousel. So, you know, we're going to find out what goes on here. They were side by side running down the Moraine, coming into turn 5. Didn't quite get there at this time around, but Liliorde's having a good old go there over Kim-Andre Bjorklund round the carousel. He's going to have the fast right-hander for the kink. It's going to be this one and one more before they end up finishing off this race. Let's see if they stay where they are.
So, through out of turn 11 at the kink, and now at full velocity go both Porsches. They've got a 3-second buffer between themselves and Ewan Bremer, who rounds out the top 3 in the Sim Race Sweden Esports number 36. Defending into turn number 12 at Canada Corner, but Liliorde looks round the outside. Has he got the job done? He's going to get the run down into turn number 13. Liliorde is through. What a brilliant move by the Team Vikings Thor, number 918, but it's going to be the run down into turn number 14. Liliorde hangs on. 1 lap to go. White flag really just goes on with big adrenaline and excitement, and now Liliorde has got an opportunity. 0.2 of a second, white flag in the air. Bjorklund closing rapidly, gap around about 0.2 of a second as they head into turn number 1 for the final time. Liliorde just trying to keep it on the black stuff, puts a left rear wheel through the dust off of the grass here at the circuit as Bjorklund touched the grass and he's got it all wrong. That's given Liliorde the lead and now also the race win, more than likely, because the gap is now 1.2 seconds and climbing. And look how close Ewan Bremer is to P2 there, James.
Yeah, I think that's it done for this lap. Liliorde is going to be able to get this one. He's going to hold on to that front of that spot. Stefan Mellis is going to be literally hugging as best as he can for Richard Jones. Jones is there and Mellis is trying to stop him going around the outside. Jones is sending it in. Is he going to open it up? He gives him room coming up the hill into turn 6. Jones is still on the outside. Through turn 6 they go. Still there, Richard Jones. Oh, onto the gravel. That's going to allow Mellis through. Corpus Benitez is there as well.
Wow, 2 spectacular battles for the lead. The lead in both respective classes. The lead changed in the pros, but in the AMs it stayed as it is. As they, Richard, just be careful coming through out of the hurry downs there, buddy. That could have been even more drama, and maybe given Rob Williams, who is going to round at the top 3 in the podium for the AM classification. The leaders making their way down the Kink, Kettle Bottoms and Canada Corner for the final time on lap number 7. Anders Liliorde 1.3 seconds up the road from Kim-Andre Bjorklund as the drivers now will find their way through into the final couple of corners. And there you see the big gap between Anders Liliorde and Kim-Andre Bjorklund at the moment. Anders Liliorde, not yet a race winner in season 4, but here at race 1 at Road America, Team Vikings Thor take their first win here in JPB GT4 series history, with Anders Liliorde taking the checkered, winning after 7 laps by 1.3 seconds. Kim-Andre Bjorklund denied a 5th win, but Stefan Mellis has got to be, he can't celebrate now, keep it pinned. Stefan Mellis wins for the second time this season in the AM class, edging out Richard Jones. My goodness, James, what a final couple of laps in that opening race of the night. Mamma mia.
Yeah, and that's only race number 1. Imagine what the full-length feature is going to be like. If that's race number 1, the feature has still got a lot to bring to us here, and we're just waiting for the last couple of cars to come over the line there. Parfitt, Kettle Larson, Chris Barnes unfortunately had an incident. Kim Palmer had another one, ended up back in the pits as well. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to Kim Palmer there, but he did make a mistake somewhere, did Kean Palmer. I don't know if we're going to get time to have a look beforehand. That back end of that Mercedes has gone round again. But here are the results for you, dear sir. And hopefully we'll be able to bring them up. There you go.
Anders Lidiorde wins race 1 of round 8 here at Road America for the JPB GT4 Championship season number 4. Also takes another additional point for fastest lap of the race. Ahead of pole sitter Kim-Andre Bjorklund. Close but not close enough. 1.3 seconds was the winning margin at the end of 7 laps. Ewan Bremer rounds out the top 3 ahead of Gordon Hauger. Miles Owens, Tor Anders Berven and Alexander Scarrett running out the top 7. Well done to Luke Maxwell for Team Radline, according to that. It says with Taylor Swift giving him a little bit of a good luck charm on the top of his roof. He finishes 8th ahead of Stefan Mellis. Twice a winner this season. He's been putting in the lap times, and that clearly showed, finishing ahead of Richard Jones, who completes the top 10 and 2nd in the AM classification in this race. David Corpas Benitez, 11th. Well done, Rob Williams. Another step on the podium for the Triple P Racing White number 93, ahead of Torbjorn Mele and Stuart Pearson. John McHutchinson is going to be on pole position for the inverted top 15 on race 2, ahead of Vegard Olsenlier, Per Havard Havstad, rounding out the top 17 with Ekola Cui, Wayne Palmer, Alejandro Caride, Oyvind Anderson, Edward Parfitt, Ketil Larson, Kean Palmer, and Chris Barnes. Well, that rounds out race 1. We're going to go to a brief break here on the JP Broadcasting Network ahead of race 2, here for round 8 at Road America. Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, we are going to have to cut this broadcast short due to circumstances outside of our control, not to do with the broadcast. But thank you so much for joining us for the opening race out of 2 here at Road America for JPB GT4 Series. Thank you so much for your patience, and we'll keep you apprised, obviously, with the second race later on. So that's it for the broadcast. We'll leave you to it, and we'll say goodnight for now. Thank you.